It's a great honor to be with all of the principals and head teachers and teachers from FCT here in Nigeria. Some of the schools here have already started this Character and Creativity Initiative. We have representatives from other countries here as well. I just want to give you a little bit of background to why we're here today and the rationale of why we're here. When we look at the world of work today in the 21st century, it has changed dramatically. You know, the 21st century is a century that's dynamic, it's organic, it's changing at lightning speed, right? You know, if you look at one country like Greece a few years ago, when its economy collapsed, it affected the economies of every country in the world. That's how interconnected and dynamic, the dynamic time we're living in right now. So when we look at the world of education, however, right, education is still stuck to many degrees in the 19th and 20th century. It has not caught up to the dynamic environment of the 21st century yet. And this is really a huge call for all of us educators here in the room today. I'm an educator myself. Educators should be the leaders, should be the leading sector in society. And I think this is a charge that we can all rise up to in the period ahead. We have a very, very serious situation in the world right now. We have, and here in Nigeria as well, here in Africa, unemployment is for young people, is at unacceptable levels. In fact, when you look at this statistic here from The Economist magazine, it was research that was done in the spring of this year, it says that half of the world's youth are outside the formal economy, or they're contributing less productively. According to data from the World Bank and the United Nations, by 2020, in 7 years' time, there will be 450 new jobs that will need to be created. 450 million new jobs, right? And schools and educators really have to rethink how we are educating our youth to meet this new century that's already underway. When you look at the last 13 years alone, the world since 2000 to 2013 has gone from a connected to a hyper-connected world. You know, we have things today that did not exist 5-7 years ago, like smartphones, the apps that, the millions of apps that are on those smartphones, systems on a chip, 3G and 4G wireless, big advances in biotechnology and so on. These are things that did not exist a few years ago. According to Craig Mundy, he's the chief technologist at Microsoft, he said that more and more things that we know today are becoming obsolete faster and faster. So here's a scary statistic, or piece of information for all of us educators. By the time your students enter junior secondary school, and by the time they graduate from senior secondary school, almost everything that they have learned is obsolete. Now that's a crazy idea, isn't it? But that is the nature of the world we're living in today. And I will come back to this idea of being obsolete in a second. If you look up here to the picture on the right, you'll see 3 people sitting around the table. These are 3 employees from Google. They're working in a team trying to solve a problem. All 54,000 employees at Google are working in teams of 4 or 5 people at a time, solving problems. Now take a look at the picture on your right, on your left rather. This is a classroom. Does this look like some of your classrooms right now? Yes, where people are sitting in rows and rows and rows, right? So what are these students looking at every single day for 15 years? What are they looking at? They're looking at the teacher, correct, but they're also looking at something else. They're looking at the blackboard, correct, but they're also looking at something else. They're looking at the back of the heads of their fellow students. The back of their head for 15 years. That does not make any sense, because in the modern economy, even in industry, in blue collar, people work in teams like this, face to face. So one small step that schools can do right now is reorganize their classrooms so that students are facing each other and working in a collaborative way. This is one small step to change school culture and make schools more relevant for the 21st century. I'll just mention a few more points and then I'll conclude. Employers of small, medium and large businesses in blue and white collar have been asked in study after study, what are the qualities that you are looking for in new employees? This is what they're telling us. We need ethical workers. We need people with great communication ability. We need people who are motivated and who can take initiative. People who can solve problems. IBM did a study of 3,000 of their executives globally, and they asked them, what is your top priority for the next 10 years? They responded that we are looking for creative and innovative employees. That's their top priority, okay? And having a positive attitude. Now, these competencies here that employers are looking for right now, globally, can be broken into two umbrella competencies called character and creativity. Character is the root of leadership. Creativity is the root of innovation and entrepreneurship. At the school level, teachers, we're calling upon teachers and school heads and school principals to nurture these vital 21st century competencies of character and creativity. Unfortunately, as a generality, schools are the great killers of creativity. In other words, if you want to squash the light of creativity in a young person, send them to school. That has to change. That's why we are, in this summit today, we are not talking about an incremental step forward. We're talking about making a giant leap forward in making education more relevant to the 21st century. There's a lot more to say, but I will wrap up these brief comments now to set the stage for the continuance of this discussion.